Ever wondered how one man could transform an elective leadership into a hereditary dynasty? Let's dive into the story of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, a figure whose life is a masterclass in politics, power, and lasting change. Born in Mecca around 602 AD, Muawiyah was the son of a powerful leader, Abu Sufyan, in the early days of Islam. His family, the Umayyads, were among its most formidable opponents. Muawiyah grew up in this environment of staunch resistance to the new faith, but history is full of surprising turns. When Mecca was conquered by the Prophet Muhammad and his followers in 630 AD, a new chapter began. Muawiyah, along with his father and the rest of his family, converted to Islam. This wasn't just a personal change of faith. It was a decision that would redirect the course of his life and, eventually, the entire Islamic world. From an opponent to a believer, Muawiyah was now on a path he could never have imagined, setting the stage for his rise within the new Muslim state. Little did anyone know that this new convert would one day become one of its most influential and controversial rulers. Following his conversion, Muawiyah's natural talent for politics and administration didn't go unnoticed. During the time of the rightly guided caliphs, the leaders who succeeded the Prophet Muhammad, his career began to take off. The second caliph, Umar ibn al-Khattab, a man known for his sharp judgment of character, saw potential in Muawiyah in 639. He appointed him as the governor of Syria. This was a massive responsibility. Syria was a vast, wealthy and strategically vital province, recently conquered from the Byzantine Empire. It was here, far from the political center in Medina, that Muawiyah truly came into his own. He proved to be an exceptional governor. He consolidated Muslim rule, managed the diverse population with skill, and built a loyal and powerful army. But perhaps his most brilliant and forward-thinking achievement was the creation of the first ever Muslim navy. Until then, the caliphate was a land-based power. Muawiyah argued that to truly challenge the Byzantine Empire, they needed to command the seas. After much persuasion, he got the green light. This new fleet not only defended the Syrian coast, but also projected the caliphate's power across the Mediterranean, leading to successful campaigns against islands like Cyprus and Rhodes. His 20 years as governor turned Syria into his personal power base and a model of effective provincial administration, laying the foundation for his future ambitions. The political landscape of the Islamic world was shattered in 656 with the assassination of the third caliph, Uthman ibn Affan. This event was a turning point. Uthman was Muawiyah's kinsman, a member of the same Umayyad clan. His murder, by rebels from within the Muslim community, sent shockwaves across the caliphate and created a deep political crisis. From his stronghold in Damascus, Muawiyah was horrified. He displayed the blood-stained shirt of the slain caliph in the main mosque, a powerful symbol of his demand for justice. He insisted that the killers be brought to account before he would pledge his allegiance to the new caliph, Ali ibn Abi Talib, who was the Prophet's cousin and son-in-law. Ali, based in Kufa, Iraq, felt his priority was to first consolidate his rule and bring stability before pursuing Uthman's assassins, some of whom were even within his own camp. This created a stalemate. Muawiyah's demand for immediate retribution was seen by Ali's supporters as a challenge to his authority. This clash of priorities between two of the most powerful figures in the Muslim world wasn't just a personal disagreement. It represented a fundamental political schism. The demand for justice on one side and the call for unity on the other couldn't be reconciled. Tensions escalated until diplomacy failed, and the once unified Muslim community slid into its first civil war. The first fitna, the political standoff between Muawiyah and Ali, finally erupted into open warfare. In 657, their armies met at a place called Siffin near the Euphrates River in modern-day Syria. The Battle of Siffin was not a quick, decisive clash. It was a long, brutal, and bloody series of skirmishes and battles that lasted for months. Tens of thousands of Muslims fought against each other, a tragedy that has echoed through Islamic history. As the battle reached its climax and Ali's forces seemed to be gaining the upper hand, Muawiyah's side resorted to a clever tactic. On the advice of his brilliant general Amr ibn al-As, his soldiers raised copies of the Quran on their lances. It was a call to stop the fighting and let God's book decide the outcome through arbitration. This move caused a split in Ali's army. A pious but rigid group, who would later be known as the Karachites, believed that stopping the battle was a betrayal of God's will. They insisted on continuing the fight, arguing that judgment belongs to God alone. When Ali agreed to the arbitration, they deserted him. The arbitration itself ended in chaos and failed to resolve the conflict, further weakening Ali's position while leaving Muawiyah in firm control of Syria and Egypt. The Battle of Siffin and its aftermath left the Muslim world fractured, setting the stage for the next dramatic chapter. The civil war had left Ali's authority weakened, not only by the stalemate with Muawiyah but also by the rebellion of his former supporters. In a tragic turn of events, in the year 661, Ali was assassinated by a Kharijite while praying in the mosque of Kufa. His death created a power vacuum. His eldest son Hassan was briefly recognized as the next caliph in Kufa. However, Hassan, wanting to avoid further bloodshed and recognizing the futility of continuing the civil war, decided to abdicate. He entered into negotiations with Muawiyah, and in exchange for certain conditions and a generous settlement, he relinquished the caliphate. With Hasan's abdication, Muawiyah faced no other serious contender. He was acclaimed as a sole caliph, finally reuniting the Muslim state under a single ruler. This year, 661, is known in Islamic history as the Year of Unity. One of his first and most significant acts was to move the capital of the Caliphate from Kufa in Iraq to his own power base, Damascus in Syria. This move symbolized a shift in the political center of gravity and marked the formal beginning of a new era. With this, Muawiyah laid the foundations for the Umayyad Caliphate, a dynasty that would rule the Islamic world for the next 90 years. His reign brought an end to the devastating civil war and ushered in a period of renewed stability, expansion, and prosperity. As Muawiyah grew older, he faced a critical question: what would happen after he was gone? The tradition so far, at least in theory, was that the caliph was chosen by some form of consultation or election among the leading figures of the community. This is how the first four rightly guided caliphs had come to power. But Muawiyah had seen how that system had led to division and civil war. He was a pragmatist and a man who had built his entire career on consolidating power and ensuring stability. He decided to do something completely unprecedented. He resolved to appoint his own son, Yazid, as his successor. This was a radical break from tradition. It was the move that would transform the caliphate from a non-hereditary elective office into a hereditary monarchy, much like the Byzantine and Persian empires that the Muslims had conquered. This decision was not taken lightly, and it was not accepted easily. There was significant opposition from many prominent figures, including the sons of some of the Prophet's closest companions. They saw it as a violation of Islamic principles and a turn towards worldly kingship. But Muawiyah was a master politician. Through a combination of diplomacy, persuasion, gifts, and sometimes threats, he spent years securing oaths of allegiance for Yazid from all the provinces. By the time of his death in 680 AD, he had succeeded. The principle of hereditary succession was established, cementing the rule of his family, the Umayyads, for nearly a century to come. So, what is the legacy of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan? It's one of profound complexity and contradiction. On one hand, he was an incredibly gifted statesman and administrator. He took a community that was tearing itself apart in a brutal civil war and forged a unified, stable, and expanding state. His reign saw the caliphate's borders pushed further into North Africa and Central Asia. He was known for his patience, cunning, and a political philosophy he called hilma, a form of forbearance and clemency where he would use force only when words failed. He famously said, "I do not use my sword where my whip will suffice, nor my whip where my tongue will suffice." But on the other hand, his legacy is defined by the one decision that changed the nature of Islamic governance forever: the appointment of his son as his heir. This introduction of hereditary rule was seen by many of his critics, both then and now, as a corruption of the original political ideals of Islam. It set a precedent that led to future conflicts, most notably the tragic events at Karbala shortly after his death. Muawiyah is thus a figure who both saved the Muslim state from collapse and also altered its fundamental character. He was a pragmatist who prioritized unity and stability above all else. But the methods he used created a dynasty and a model of kingship that has been debated for over 1,000 years. His life remains a powerful case study in the eternal tension between principle and power, and how the decisions of a single leader can echo for centuries. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the life of one of history's most fascinating figures. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history. Let us know in the comments what you think about Muawiyah's legacy. We'll see you in the next one.